You feel the resistance immediately, not because this message is false, but because it cuts too close to what you have been avoiding. Something in you wants to pull away, scroll past, rationalize, yet something stronger keeps you here. That tension is not confusion, it is recognition. This message is difficult to believe because it forces you to confront a truth you have sensed for a long time but never fully named. You have lived with an inner contradiction. Outwardly, your life may look stable enough. You show up to work. You fulfill responsibilities. You keep going. But inwardly, there is a persistent sense that you are living beneath your true calling. You have asked yourself late at night, quietly, almost ashamed to admit it. Is this really all there is, not because you are ungrateful, but because your spirit knows it was built for more than survival? Think about your job. Perhaps it pays the bills, but it drains your soul. You sit in meetings where values are compromised for convenience. You are asked to stay silent when truth would cost you comfort. Others adapt easily. You struggle. You replay those moments afterward, wishing you had spoken, wishing you felt at peace. This is not weakness. This is discernment without full direction yet. Your finances may reflect the same tension. You work hard, but money feels like it slips through your fingers. Unexpected expenses, delays, setbacks. You wonder why progress feels slower for you than for people who seem less careful, less principled. But consider this: some paths are blocked not because you are failing, but because they would trap you in something beneath your assignment. Even in your family or closest relationships, you may feel misunderstood. You are told you think too deeply, feel too much, care too intensely. You learn to downplay your questions to keep the peace. You learn to smile when something inside you feels unsettled. Over time, that suppression becomes heavy. You carry it quietly, hoping one day it will make sense. This message disrupts you because it reframes all of that. What if your discomfort is not a flaw to fix, but a signal to follow? What if the reason you cannot fully settle is because you were never meant to? Comfort has never been the reward for those assigned to carry weight. Clarity comes first. Peace follows alignment, not avoidance. The ancient wisdom speaks directly into this moment. The prophet Elijah spoke as recorded in the first book of Kings, chapter 18, verse 21. How long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal, then follow him. That question is not angry. It is urgent. How long will you live divided? How long will you sense the call but postpone the response? Wavering does not feel like rebellion. It feels like caution. But over time, it becomes a quiet form of disobedience to your own knowing. Here is where the intensity rises. Because indecision has a cost, not dramatic, not immediate, but cumulative. Each time you ignore that inner nudge, clarity dulls. Each time you compromise what you know is right to keep things easy, your spiritual hearing weakens. This is not condemnation, this is consequence. Yet notice this: the question was asked because a decision was still possible. You are being confronted because you are still capable of choosing. If this were over, you would feel numb, not disturbed. Conviction is evidence of invitation. Now let the tone soften, because hope must follow truth. Picture a real, tangible future, a season where your work aligns with your values, where you may earn differently, maybe even less at first, but you sleep without that knot in your chest, where your relationships are fewer but deeper, where your no is respected because your yes is rare and intentional. Imagine waking up without dread, not because life is easy, but because it is honest. That is not fantasy. That is alignment. It is costly. Yes, but it is clean. And clean living restores strength in ways comfort never can. So here is the direct question you must face, without spiritual language to soften it. How long will you keep wavering between who you are and who you pretend to be just to survive? If this message has reached you, do not rush past it. Like this message so it reaches others standing at the same crossroads. Share it with someone who has been quietly wavering. Subscribe to stay connected, because this is not a moment, it is a turning point. And if you recognize yourself in these words, comment 21 below as a sign that you are ready to choose clarity over comfort. The moment you stop judging your unease, it becomes a compass. What once felt like confusion begins to organize itself, quietly pointing you toward environments, choices, and rhythms that restore you. When you honor that signal consistently, life grows clearer. Decisions simplify, energy returns. You realize you were never lost, you were being redirected, step by step, toward a place that fits. That feeling you carry, the quiet sense of being out of place, has followed you longer than you can remember. It shows up in rooms where everyone else seems relaxed. It surfaces in conversations that flow easily for others but feel slightly forced for you. You have called it awkwardness, overthinking, social fatigue. At times you even called it failure. But what if that interpretation has been wrong from the beginning? The sensation of being lost is often misunderstood. In everyday life, we are taught that belonging equals success and discomfort equals something broken. But for someone like you, discomfort is often information. It is a signal, not a verdict. You feel out of place not because you are defective, but because you are misaligned with environments that cannot sustain who you are becoming. Consider a very practical example. You sit at lunch with coworkers. The topic drifts toward gossip, shortcuts, ways to get ahead without being noticed. Everyone laughs. You smile politely, but your energy drains. You go back to your desk feeling heavier than before. Nothing dramatic happened, yet something inside you recoiled. That recoil is not arrogance. It is discernment activating before you have words for it. Or think about family gatherings. You love your family, but certain patterns repeat old expectations, subtle pressure to stay small, to not change too much. You leave those gatherings tired, even when nothing overtly negative was said. You wonder why connection feels costly. The answer is not that you lack love, it is that growth creates friction with familiar roles. The mistake many people make is trying to cure this feeling by forcing belonging. You stay longer than you should. You agree when you mean no. You quiet parts of yourself to keep things smooth. In the short term, this reduces tension. In the long term, it increases inner confusion. The signal gets louder because it is being ignored. Here is where practical guidance matters. The first step is not to fix the feeling, but to study it. When does the sense of, "I don't fit here" arise? Is it after certain conversations, certain activities, certain compromises? Start observing without judgment. This is not about labeling people as bad or wrong. It is about noticing where your spirit contracts versus where it expands. In daily work life, this might look like paying attention to tasks that drain you versus tasks that quietly energize you, even if they are harder. You may notice that meaningful responsibility gives you strength, while meaningless busy work exhausts you. That contrast is a clue toward alignment, not a complaint to suppress. Financially, you may feel tension when money is gained in ways that conflict with your values. Even if the numbers look good, peace is missing. This does not mean wealth is wrong. It means the method matters to you more than the outcome. That awareness will shape wiser decisions later. if you honor it now. The ancient writings speak to this inner distinction. The Apostle Paul wrote in the letter to the Romans, chapter 12, verse 2, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you may discern what is the good, pleasing, and perfect will of God." Notice the sequence. Discernment comes after renewal, not after conformity. If you are constantly forcing yourself to fit, you dull the very sensitivity that helps you choose well. Transformation requires space. Renewal requires honesty. You cannot renew a mind that is always performing. Here is a simple, grounded practice you can apply immediately. When you feel that familiar sense of being out of place, do not rush to escape it. Ask one quiet question instead. What is this moment teaching me about what I need? Sometimes the answer is rest. Sometimes it is boundaries. Sometimes it is courage. The feeling becomes useful when you let it instruct rather than accuse. Another practical step is to reduce unnecessary noise. Overconsumption of opinions, content, expectations amplifies confusion. Create small daily pockets of silence, a walk without headphones, a few minutes before sleep without screens. In that quiet, the signal sharpens. You begin to distinguish intuition from anxiety. Relationships also require adjustment, not abandonment. You do not need to cut everyone off to honor yourself. You need clarity about who has access to your inner world. Not everyone deserves the full weight of your thoughts. Choose wisely where you process your questions on safety matters when you are refining discernment. This section is not about glorifying isolation. It is about redefining it. There is a difference between loneliness and preparation. Loneliness drains. Preparation strengthens. One leaves you empty. The other makes you attentive. When you stop treating your lone seasons as punishment, you begin to extract wisdom from them. Hope enters quietly here. Because the goal is not to wander forever. The goal is to recognize signals early so you can move intentionally. Belonging will come, but it will be aligned, not forced. It will feel calm, not performative. And when it arrives, it will not require you to shrink. So consider this question carefully. Without rushing to answer, what if the feeling you have been trying to escape is actually guiding you toward a truer place of rest? There is a quiet pressure that has been building around you, not loud enough to scare you, but steady enough to exhaust you. It shows up as repetition, similar problems wearing different faces, familiar frustrations returning in new forms. You tell yourself this is just life, but deep down, you know something is being asked of you that you have not answered yet. You are not unaware. You are aware and postponing. You sense the moment when action is required, and you feel the internal resistance rise, not because you do not know what to do, but because doing it would disrupt the structure you have learned to survive in. Delay feels safer than disruption, yet safety without alignment slowly drains your strength. Think of a common work situation. You know your role has outgrown you, or you have outgrown it. You stay because it is predictable. You tell yourself you will reassess next year. Meanwhile, your creativity dulls, your motivation thins. You begin counting days instead of building skills. Nothing collapses, but nothing grows. That stagnation is not neutral. It is a signal. The same pattern appears in personal finances. You sense the need to change spending habits, learn new skills, or step away from a dependency that no longer serves you. But fear of instability convinces you to wait. Bills get paid, but anxiety remains. The issue is not money, it is misalignment. Resources stagnate where vision is delayed. In relationships, the warning becomes even subtler. You feel the distance growing, not from conflict, but from avoidance. Conversations stay surface level. Important truths are postponed. You tell yourself you are preserving peace, but inside, connection weakens. Over time, you feel unseen not because the other person is cruel, but because you stopped being honest. Ancient wisdom names this moment with clarity. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 24. Everyone who hears these words of mine and acts on them is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The emphasis is not on hearing, it is on acting. Hearing without action builds nothing that can endure pressure. The storm does not destroy the house because of cruelty, it reveals what it was built on. Delay leaves foundations untested until stress arrives. Here the intensity rises because storms do come, not as punishment, but as revelation. And when they do, half decisions collapse first. This is why the warning has followed you. It is not to threaten you, it is to prepare you. Now let the tone settle, because hope is grounded here. You are still early enough to build well. You do not need dramatic change. You need honest movement. One conversation, one adjustment, one step that aligns action with knowing. A practical instruction for daily life when something continues to return to your awareness. Treat it as a priority, not a nuisance. Write it down, name it clearly. Ask, what is the smallest responsible action I can take this week? Then do that without waiting to feel ready. Another instruction: stop outsourcing conviction. Do not wait for unanimous approval. Wise counsel matters, but clarity is personal. If you need everyone to agree before you move, you will stay stuck. Growth often requires disappointing old expectations to honor deeper truth. Picture a future moment. You are not free from challenge, but you are free from regret. You acted when you were called. You built steadily, and when pressure came, you stood not because life was easy, but because your foundation was real. So face this question directly. What truth have you already heard that is waiting for your action? Now, anchor this moment. Comment. No more delay below. Those 3 words are not a slogan. They are a boundary you set between your past patterns and your next step. No more delay means you stop negotiating with what you already know. It is the decision to end internal debate and accept that clarity has already been given. You are no longer waiting for perfect conditions, perfect confidence, or perfect timing. You recognize that postponement has been costing you more than action ever will. When you say no more delay, you are drawing a clear line between awareness and response. You acknowledge that insight without movement becomes weight. This phrase signals that you are ready to translate understanding into behavior, even if the steps are small, imperfect, and uncomfortable at first. No more delay is also a commitment to honesty. It means you stop disguising fear as patience and hesitation as wisdom. You admit that some decisions have lingered not because they were unclear, but because they required courage. This statement restores integrity between what you believe and how you live. In daily life, no more delay looks practical. It might mean sending the message you keep rewriting, setting the boundary you keep postponing, or taking responsibility for a pattern you've blamed on circumstances. It is not dramatic change, it is timely obedience to what is already within reach. Finally, no more delay is an act of self-respect. You choose to trust your discernment again. You reclaim momentum. You stop waiting for permission to act on truth. This phrase does not promise ease, but it promises alignment, and alignment restores strength faster than comfort ever could. There is a moment recorded in Scripture that begins quietly, almost unnoticed. A man named Peter stands on a shoreline after a long, empty night of fishing. His nets are clean not because they are full, but because there is nothing left to sort through. Effort was spent, skill was applied, experience was trusted, and still, nothing came of it. Then Jesus speaks a simple instruction that contradicts logic. Cast the net again, in deeper water. Peter hesitates, then obeys, and the net fills beyond capacity. That story endures because it mirrors a pattern you recognize intimately. You have followed the rules. You have worked hard. You have done what made sense. And still, there are seasons where the return does not match the effort. It leaves you questioning not only your strategy, but yourself. Was it worth it? Did I misread the calling? Did I wait too long or move too soon? This is where mercy pauses, not as rejection, not as abandonment, but as a holy suspension, a space where heaven does not push yet does not withdraw. You are not being ignored, you are being invited to listen more deeply than before. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 37, verse 7. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him. Stillness is misunderstood. In daily life, stillness is often mistaken for stagnation, weakness, or indecision. But spiritual stillness is active restraint. It is the discipline of not forcing outcomes prematurely. It is choosing depth over speed when everything in you wants relief now. Think of a familiar everyday moment. You are about to send a message, sharp, emotional, reactive. Your finger hovers over the screen. Something inside you hesitates. That pause is not fear. That is wisdom interrupting impulse. When you honor it, you often avoid damage you would later have to repair. At work, mercy pausing may look like a delay you do not understand, a promotion that does not arrive, a project that stalls. At first, frustration rises, but in the pause, you see patterns more clearly. You notice who speaks truth and who performs. You gain skill without spotlight. Later, when movement resumes, you are not scrambling, you are ready. What felt like silence was calibration. In finances, mercy pausing may look like restraint. You resist a quick gain that feels misaligned. You wait before committing to something that promises speed but costs peace. Others rush ahead. You move slower. Yet over time, your decisions compound stability instead of stress. The pause saved you from a future cleanup you never had to do. In relationships, this pause becomes especially sacred. You sense not to rush attachment, explanations, or decisions. You allow time to reveal truth. You let patterns speak louder than promises. That patience protects your heart. When clarity comes, it is steady, not dramatic, not confusing. Now the tension rises gently, because stillness requires courage. Anyone can react. Few can wait well. Waiting exposes motives. It asks whether you trust timing or control. Mercy pauses not because God is uncertain, but because something in you is being strengthened that haste would weaken. Here is where hope settles in not vague, but tangible. You are not missing your moment. You are being positioned for it. The net fills only after obedience, not after full understanding. You are not asked to predict outcomes. You are asked to remain attentive. There are moments when you do not argue with warmth, you simply move closer. You do not announce it. You do not explain it. You extend your hands toward the fire because something in you recognizes life there. To linger here is like pressing a quiet mark of agreement, a silent nod that says this matters, not loudly, not publicly, but sincerely. And when a flame steadies you, something natural happens. You glance back, not to convince, not to pressure, but because care moves outward. Passing this warmth to someone else feels like calling across the water in the dark, not demanding they swim, only letting them know the shore exists. This is not obligation, it is instinct. Some messages you hear once and forget. Others become places you return to because they help you breathe again. Staying connected here is like tying a small knot in the rope so you do not drift back into noise. It is choosing proximity to what nourishes you, and if you choose to remain near this well, to return, to listen again, to walk alongside these reflections, it is like pitching your tent where water is trustworthy. Some wells you visit once, others you build near because life depends on them. There is no rush here, no pressure, only invitation. Mercy is still paused. Instruction will come. When it does, it will not shout. It will resonate, and you will recognize it not because fear disappears, but because clarity replaces chaos. So sit with this question. Honestly and without urgency, are you willing to trust the pause long enough to receive the next instruction? Stay where you are for a moment longer. Let the stillness do its quiet work. When the instruction arrives, it will feel steady, not rushed. You will move without panic because patience has already prepared your steps. There comes a point where understanding is no longer the problem. You know what is misaligned. You know what drains you. You know what keeps circling back because it was never resolved. What remains now is not insight, but surrender, the kind that does not feel dramatic, but feels final, heals. This is the stage many people never reach, not because they lack faith, but because surrender threatens identity. You have learned who you are by what you endure, what you tolerate, what you carry alone. Letting go feels like erasing proof of strength. Yet true strength is revealed not by how much you can hold, but by what you are finally willing to release. Think about an everyday example. You keep overworking, not because you love it, but because slowing down scares you. If you stop pushing, you fear everything might collapse. So you carry workloads that are not yours, responsibilities that were never assigned, emotional weight that belongs to others. People praise your reliability, but your body keeps the score. Exhaustion becomes normal. That is not devotion. That is displacement. Or consider finances again. You cling tightly not out of greed, but fear. Fear of instability, fear of loss, fear of being unprotected, for you hesitate to invest, to give, to change patterns. Money becomes your shield instead of your tool. And slowly, it begins to control decisions it was never meant to govern. Surrender here does not mean recklessness. It means restoring order in relationships. Surrender is often misunderstood as weakness. But what you are being asked to surrender is not love, it is illusion. Illusion that you can save people by staying silent. Illusion that endurance will eventually transform misalignment. Illusion that if you give enough, things will balance out. They rarely do. Surrender is the moment you stop negotiating truth for peace. This is where Scripture speaks with clarity and weight, according to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs. Chapter 3, verse 5. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Notice what is being surrendered here, not effort, not intelligence, not responsibility, but control. Leaning on your own understanding has limits. It works until it doesn't. Trust begins where logic ends, not because logic is wrong, but because it is incomplete. Now the tension rises, because surrender feels like stepping backward before moving forward. It feels like loss before gain. Your mind will resist it, offering reasonable arguments to delay. But deep down, you know this resistance. It is familiar. It has kept you circling the same lessons for too long. Here is the hope. Specific and grounded surrender simplifies. When you stop trying to manage outcomes, energy returns to presence, decisions become clearer. You stop over-explaining, you stop proving, you start responding instead of reacting. Life does not become easier, but it becomes cleaner. Practically, surrender this week might look like saying no without justification, delegating instead of rescuing, resting without apology, releasing a plan that keeps failing despite constant effort. These are not spiritual gestures. They are structural shifts. And structure determines sustainability. Another real scenario: you finally stop chasing validation. You do the work quietly, faithfully, without scanning for applause. And strangely, peace increases. You sleep better. You move slower. You are no longer performing for outcomes. You are aligned with purpose. This is the calm before momentum. Because surrender is not the end, it is the transfer. What you release makes room for what you could not carry before. Capacity expands when clutter leaves. So face this honestly. What are you still holding because letting go would require trust you have not practiced yet? At the end of this section, anchor the moment. Not loudly, not dramatically. Simply mark it. Comment 58 below, not as superstition but as signal. A reminder that you are choosing trust over control, alignment over exhaustion, surrender over struggle. The number 58 represents release followed by rebuilding. 5 speaks of transition and movement. 8 speaks of renewal and new structure. Together, they mark a moment where old patterns lose authority and space is created for something more stable to take form. When you choose 58, you are acknowledging that a season has completed its lesson. You are no longer clinging to what once worked but no longer fits. This number reflects maturity, the willingness to evolve without resentment toward the past. 58 also signifies trust after effort. It recognizes that you have tried, planned, adjusted, and carried weight long enough. Now, strength expresses itself differently, not by pushing harder, but by allowing guidance to lead where control cannot. In daily life, 58 means simplifying decisions. You stop over-managing outcomes and start responding with clarity. Energy once spent on worry becomes available for focus, creativity, and rest. The number marks a return to alignment rather than urgency. Finally, 58 is a quiet boundary. It reminds you that surrender is not weakness, it is wisdom applied at the right time. By choosing it, you affirm that renewal is already in motion, even before visible change appears. There is a shift that happens quietly after surrender. Not immediately visible, not dramatic enough for others to notice, but unmistakable to you. The noise inside begins to thin. The urgency that once pushed you starts to loosen its grip. You realize you're no longer fighting everything at once. Something has reordered itself. This is the stage where many expect instant results and feel confused when life does not suddenly accelerate. But acceleration was never the promise. Alignment was. What you gain here is not speed, but stability. And stability changes how you move through ordinary days. You wake up and notice your thoughts are less scattered. Problems still exist, but they no longer feel personal attacks. You respond instead of reacting. This alone conserves enormous energy. At work, you stop proving your worth through exhaustion. You choose tasks more intentionally. You speak less, but with more weight. People begin to listen differently, not because you are louder, but because you are clearer. In finances, something subtle changes. You are no longer driven by fear-based decisions. You plan with patience. You spend with awareness. You stop comparing your pace to others. Money becomes a tool again, not a measure of your safety or value. You may not have more yet, but what you have carries less anxiety. That peace is not accidental, it is alignment settling in. Relationships shift too, sometimes uncomfortably. As you stabilize internally, you tolerate less distortion externally. You no longer chase conversations that drain you. You no longer over-explain boundaries. Some connections naturally recalibrate, others fade. This is not loss, it is refinement. You are not becoming colder. You are becoming more honest. There is also a deeper loneliness that may surface here, not because you are disconnected, but because you are changing faster than your environment. This can feel isolating if misunderstood. But this solitude is different from the loneliness of confusion. It is the solitude of clarity. You know who you are becoming, even if others do not yet. Ancient wisdom speaks into this grounded season. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 15, verse 58. Therefore be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, knowing that your labor is not in vain. Steadfast does not mean rigid. Immovable does not mean stubborn. It means anchored. You are no longer swayed by every opinion, every delay, every emotional wave. Your work, visible or unseen, is not wasted simply because it is quiet. This is where patience matures. You stop needing constant reassurance that you are on the right path. You trust the direction even when the scenery is repetitive. Repetition is not stagnation when you are building depth. Foundations require consistency more than excitement. A very practical example: you continue showing up to a role that feels ordinary, but now you do it with intention. You learn systems deeply. You refine skills thoroughly. While others chase novelty, you gain mastery. Later, opportunities recognize that depth. What looked uneventful becomes essential. Another example: you maintain healthy routines that do not impress anyone. Rest, movement, boundaries, quiet reflection. These choices rarely get applause, but they compound resilience. When stress increases, you are not scrambling. You are ready because you prepared without urgency. Hope in this section is not loud, it is reliable. You begin to trust that growth does not need witnesses to be real. You stop measuring progress by external change alone. Internal order becomes its own reward. There may still be moments of doubt. That is human. But doubt no longer controls direction. It becomes a passing weather pattern, not the climate. You have learned to wait without quitting and move without rushing. This is not the end of the journey. It is the strengthening of the spine before greater responsibility. What comes next will require this steadiness. And when it arrives, you will not panic. You will recognize it as familiar because you have already been living aligned. So remain here fully. Do not rush this season away. What is forming now will support everything that follows. You begin to notice that your decisions feel quieter but stronger. There is less internal debate, less second-guessing. You trust your timing. Even when outcomes are delayed, anxiety does not take over. Confidence grows not from control, but from consistency in how you live. Challenges still arise, but they no longer shake your center. You address problems directly without dramatizing them. You recover faster. Resilience becomes natural rather than forced. This steadiness is evidence that alignment has taken root beneath the surface. Others may not understand the changes they sense in you. You speak less about your plans and more through your actions. There is no need to convince. Your presence carries weight because it is grounded, not performative. What you are building now will outlast urgency. It will support future growth without collapse. When expansion comes, it will not overwhelm you because the foundation you've laid here is strong enough to hold it. There is a moment near the end of every long journey when you realize you are no longer the person who began it. Nothing announces this shift. No one applauds. No voice explains it for you. You simply notice that what once pulled you off balance no longer has the same power. The noise has lost authority. The weight has shifted. You are still walking, but you are walking differently. You are no longer asking who you are allowed to be. You are no longer waiting for signs that someone else understands you. You have learned to stand without performance, to move without panic, to wait without shrinking. This is not arrival. This is embodiment. You have carried this transformation through ordinary days, through work that tested your patience, through financial choices that demanded restraint instead of impulse, through relationships that required truth instead of comfort. You did not grow by escaping life. You grew by staying present inside it. What emerges now is quiet authority, not dominance, not control. Authority that comes from alignment. You speak less, but your words land. You promise less, but you keep what you promise. You no longer explain your boundaries, they explain themselves. People feel the difference even if they cannot name it. In daily life, this looks simple. You show up consistently. You rest without guilt. You stop offering your deepest thoughts to shallow spaces. You protect your inner life the way someone protects a flame in the wind, not by hiding it, but by shielding it wisely. Hope here is no longer loud. It is dependable. You trust that what belongs to you will recognize you without pursuit. You are not chasing anymore. You are walking forward, and what aligns will align. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 6, verse 16. Stand at the crossroads and look. Ask for the ancient paths. Ask where the good way is and walk in it, and you will find rest for your souls. Notice the promise is rest, not reward. Rest does not come from ease. It comes from choosing the right direction and staying with it long enough for the soul to stop resisting. This is where your life becomes an invitation instead of an argument. You are no longer trying to convince anyone. Light does not negotiate, it remains lit. Some will draw closer, others will pass by. You have learned to release both outcomes. There are moments when truth settles in you like a seal pressed into warm wax. You do not shout agreement, you leave an imprint. Choosing to mark this moment is like pressing that seal, quietly saying this aligns with me. It is not for display, it is for memory, a reminder that you recognized yourself here. And when something steadies you this deeply, care naturally moves outward. You do not broadcast it. You leave breadcrumbs on the path not to command others to follow, but so no one has to walk in the dark alone. Passing this along is not persuasion. It is compassion expressed without pressure. There are also those quiet gestures that carry more weight than applause. Sometimes the most powerful response is like carving a symbol into wood, small, deliberate, and lasting. Leaving your words here is not noise, it is testimony. Proof that this message did not pass through you unchanged. Staying connected to takes on a different meaning now. It is like setting your compass before nightfall. You are not promising the journey will be easy. You are choosing a direction that keeps you from walking in circles. Returning here is less about content and more about continuity. Growth deepens when it is tended. None of this is obligation. It is instinct, like returning to a well that has never left you thirsty. like sitting near a fire because it restores your strength. You are not collecting messages anymore. You are curating nourishment. Some will pass this fire once. Others will keep a flame from it and tend it over time. If you choose to stay near, to return, to invite others quietly, let it be because it feeds you, not because anyone told you to. What is freely chosen carries the deepest power. There is no pressure here, only alignment. So take a breath, let the journey settle inside you, and ask yourself one final honest question without fear, without rush. Will you continue walking the good way, even when no one is watching? You may notice that silence feels different now. It no longer presses against you with emptiness. It feels spacious, like a field after harvest, clear, open, ready. In that space, your thoughts slow down, and what truly matters rises without effort or force. The choices ahead of you will not always be easy, but they will feel honest. You will sense when to move and when to wait. Discernment will replace urgency. You will trust yourself again, not because you are perfect, but because you are aligned. There will still be moments of fatigue. Growth does not remove human limits, but rest will come faster now. You will recover more fully because you no longer fight against your own direction. What once drained you will no longer have unlimited access. As time passes, you may look back and realize this season was quieter than expected, yet it was foundational. What formed here did not need attention to be real. It needed consistency, and consistency has become one of your greatest strengths. Carry this forward gently. You do not need to announce who you are becoming. Let it unfold naturally through how you live, how you choose, how you remain steady. The path will continue to open, one faithful step at a time. You do not need to decide anything right now. An ending does not have to close the door, it can leave a window open, letting air move through at its own pace. What matters is not what you do next, but what stays with you after the words fade. If something in this message felt useful, grounding, or quietly clarifying, you are free to pass it along, not as a declaration, not as an endorsement, but like offering someone a cup of water you found refreshing yourself. No explanation required, no expectation attached. Some people will take a sip, others will simply nod and keep walking. Both responses are complete, and if sharing does not feel right, that is also enough. You are allowed to keep what touched you, to carry one sentence, one image, one insight forward into your own life without broadcasting it. Some truths grow better in private soil. They strengthen roots before they ever show leaves. You may walk away from this message remembering only a fragment, a feeling, a question, a sense of steadiness. That is not loss, that is integration. What is meant for you will remain, even if the rest dissolves. Wisdom does not demand memory, it leaves an imprint. There is no scorecard here, no pressure to respond the right way. You are not required to agree with everything, or even most things. What matters is that you listened honestly, that you noticed what resonated and what didn't. Discernment itself is growth. So take what fits in your hands, leave the rest on the table. If this helped you see more clearly, let it travel. If it simply helped you breathe, let it stay with you. And if nothing connected today, trust that true clarity often comes in layers, not moments. The path continues either way. You are free to walk on,